Somebody shot.
Somebody got shot? Oh, shit, it was close.
Right now, I have one light bag, I have one green, and I'm headed down to the...
Every time I'm out here, you see
Police, put the level up. Put the level up.
This how they know it's your birthday in New Orleans.
What was meant to be a joyful birthday celebration quickly turned into heartbreak when a Chicago woman was killed, an innocent bystander of a shooting that took place on Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
How many times have you told yourself, I'll take a break when things settle down? How many birthdays have slipped by while you were too busy keeping everyone else's world spinning? If you're a parent, you know this feeling. The guilt that comes with even thinking about putting yourself first. The exhaustion that's so normal you forget what rested feels like. Jessica Williams knew that feeling too. She was 33 years old, a single mother, an essential worker at Stroger Hospital in Chicago. And for years, she carried the weight of 2 kids on her back without ever asking for help. But here's the thing about people like Jessica. They don't collapse. They just keep going until one day they can't anymore. If stories like this matter to you, real stories about real people, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a tragedy, it's a warning. Jessica rarely took time for herself. She was always focused on her children, her family, her work. That's what her union said about her. Not she was dedicated, not she worked hard. They said she rarely took time for herself. Think about what that means. It means every decision she made revolved around survival, around making sure her 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son had what they needed. It means her life wasn't hers anymore. It belonged to them. She worked at Stroger Hospital as a building service worker, union job, stable income, healthcare benefits, the kind of security most single parents would kill for. But it still wasn't enough, so she started a side hustle, a small business called Customize Ya Life. Personalized items, Instagram orders, late nights after long shifts, because that's what you do when you're the only safety net your kids have. No savings account was going to fall from the sky. No miracle was coming to pay for college or keep the lights on. Jessica built it herself. Brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck, and she did it alone. September 2025. For the first time in years, Jessica let herself breathe. Her cousin had just graduated college. Jessica's birthday was coming up. Her mom suggested a trip. New Orleans. The family together, a celebration. At first, Jessica hesitated. She always hesitated because taking time off meant less money. It meant leaving her kids. It meant stepping away from the routine that kept everything from falling apart. But her family pushed. They reminded her that she deserved this, that she'd spent years giving everything to everyone else. So she said yes. She packed her bags. She kissed her daughter and son goodbye. She told them she'd be back in a few days. And on September 28th, 2025, Jessica Williams walked onto Bourbon Street with her mother, her siblings, her cousins, laughing, relaxed. For once, she wasn't thinking about bills or shift schedules or what her kids needed next. For once, she felt free. But freedom is fragile, especially when 2 strangers with guns decide your fate for you. Jessica had never been to New Orleans before. This was supposed to be her moment, her reward for years of sacrifice, a memory she'd carry forever. Instead, it became the last night of her life. Because at 2:22 a.m., in the middle of a crowded street, an argument broke out between 2 men Jessica had never met. Men whose names she didn't know. Men who didn't care that she had kids waiting for her back in Chicago. And when the gunfire started, Jessica didn't run fast enough. She couldn't. Here's the question that will haunt you through this entire story. What do you do when the person you depend on most is suddenly gone? Not sick, not given a chance to say goodbye, just gone. Jessica's daughter is 7. Her son is 4. They don't understand why their mom isn't coming home. They don't understand why strangers are raising money on GoFundMe to pay for their future. They don't understand why 2 men they've never heard of took everything from them. And honestly, neither do we. But what happened on Bourbon Street that night isn't just about Jessica. It's about every single parent out there living one bad decision away from disaster. One stray bullet away from leaving their kids behind. Stay with me until the end of this video. Because before we're done, I'm going to share crucial advice on how to protect yourself and your loved ones from gun violence. Warning signs to watch for and actions that could save your life. This is the story of Jessica Williams, the woman who never stopped until someone stopped her. Welcome to True Crime Footprint, where we unveil the darkest mysteries and the most terrifying true crime tales. Kindly hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our new stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. September 28, 2025. Jessica Williams stepped off the plane in New Orleans with her mother, her siblings, and her cousins. This wasn't just a trip. It was a double celebration. Jessica's birthday, her cousin's college graduation, 2 milestones, 1 weekend. For Jessica, this was more than a vacation. It was proof that she could finally exhale. The family checked into their hotel. They unpacked. They laughed. They took photos. For the first time in years, Jessica wasn't worrying about daycare schedules or hospital shifts or how much gas was left in the tank. She was just there, present, smiling. It was her first time in New Orleans. She'd seen the city in movies, heard the stories about the music and the food and the energy. But being there, walking those streets with the people she loved most, it felt like permission to be happy. They spent the day exploring, beignets at Café du Monde, street performers on Jackson Square, the kind of carefree moments you look back on and think, that was a good day. As the sun went down, the family made their way to Bourbon Street, the heart of the French Quarter. Neon lights, live music spilling out of every doorway, crowds so thick you couldn't walk in a straight line. Jessica's cousin, Cardasia Wells, was right beside her. They moved through the chaos together, soaking it all in. The noise, the laughter. The feeling of being surrounded by strangers who were all just trying to have a good time. It felt safe. That's the thing about crowds, isn't it? You assume there's safety in numbers. You assume no one would be reckless enough to do something stupid when hundreds of people are watching. You assume wrong. By 2:22 a.m., the family was ready to head back to the hotel. They'd had their fun. They were tired, happy, ready to call it a night. They started walking through the 200 block of Bourbon Street, still crowded, still loud, still buzzing with the kind of energy that makes you feel invincible. And that's when they heard it. 2 men, voices raised, an argument escalating fast. Jessica's family didn't stop. Why would they? Arguments happen. Drunk people yell at each other on Bourbon Street every single night. It's part of the atmosphere, part of the chaos. Cardasia Wells would later recall that moment with haunting clarity. We're not thinking that they're going to pull out any weapons or any of that because it's a big crowd. They kept walking. The voices behind them got louder, and then everything changed. The family didn't know it yet, but they were no longer tourists enjoying a night out. They were targets. Not because they'd done anything wrong, not because they'd gotten involved, but because 2 men with guns didn't care who was standing between them. The first shot cracked through the air like thunder. Mecky Jarius Andre pulled out a gun and fired at Dontrell Bradley. People screamed, bodies scattered in every direction. The music didn't stop. The neon lights kept flashing, but everything had changed. Bradley, struck by the gunfire, returned fire. 2 men, 2 guns, hundreds of people caught in between. Jessica didn't have time to run. She didn't have time to process what was happening. 1 second she was walking with her family. The next she was on the ground. Her sister dropped beside her, shot, bleeding. The 200 block of Bourbon Street became a massacre. When the gunfire finally stopped, 4 people had been hit. Jessica Williams lay motionless on the pavement. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Her sister was rushed to the hospital, fighting to survive. Two other people, strangers who'd also been celebrating, also walking home, were wounded and transported for emergency care. Jessica's mother stood in the middle of the chaos, trying to comprehend what had just happened. One daughter dead, another bleeding out in an ambulance. Both of them shot by men they'd never met. Men who didn't know their names. Men who didn't care. All she could say was, "I want to know why. Why her daughter? Why that street? Why that night?" But there is no why. Not one that makes sense. Not one that brings her back.
What was meant to be a joyful birthday celebration quickly turned into heartbreak when a Chicago woman was killed, an innocent bystander of a shooting that took place on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. 33-year-old Jessica Williams had to be convinced to take time for herself and celebrate her birthday. The single mother's focus was her two young children, according to cousin Cardasia Wells, who did not want to show her face on camera.
It's either work, my kids, or doing something with my kids. There's no in between, so she don't make free time for herself.
But Williams, the oldest of four, decided it was time to celebrate. She, two of her siblings, her mother, other family members, and Wells went to New Orleans on Friday, planning to come back Sunday, the day of Williams' birthday.
That was the goal, to just celebrate her and my cousin too, because he had just graduated college, so we was going to celebrate the both of them.
Wells says it was around 2 a.m. on Sunday when the family was heading back to their hotel after a night in the French Quarter.
On our way leaving, two guys got into an altercation, and we're not thinking that they're gonna, pull out any weapons or any of that, because it's a big crowd.
New Orleans police say the fight led to a shootout on Bourbon Street. 4 people were shot, and they include Williams, who was killed, and her younger sister, who was injured.
How you go to another city and just try to have some fun, and return everyone but one person?
New Orleans police say they interviewed 2 persons of interest and are looking for another man they believe is the suspect. They shared this picture with us. Meanwhile, Williams' close-knit family is rallying around her children, who are 7 and 5 years old, while supporting each other.
I thought I was going to be okay, and I thought that I can get past this one. I thought that tomorrow was going to get better, but I can't see it getting better.
Williams' sister is still recovering in a New Orleans hospital. She's expected to come home later this week.
If this story shakes you, share it, post it, talk about it. Because gun violence doesn't just take lives, it destroys entire families. And the more we stay silent, the more it keeps happening. Jessica's 7-year-old daughter woke up the next morning waiting for her mom to call. Her 4-year-old son asked when she was coming home. They didn't know yet. They couldn't understand yet. 2 men who didn't know Jessica's name had just stolen her children's future. Jessica's children didn't understand at first. Her 7-year-old daughter kept asking when mommy was coming home. Her 4-year-old son waited by the door, expecting her to walk through it like she always did. But she never did, and she never would. The financial destruction was immediate. Jessica's union income? Gone. Her healthcare benefits? Gone. The side business she'd built late at night after exhausting shifts at Stroger Hospital? Gone. Everything she'd worked for. Everything she'd sacrificed for. Erased in 2.2 seconds. The family launched a GoFundMe. Strangers donated what they could. It helped, but charity can't replace a mother. It can't pay for 15 years of school supplies, or college tuition, or the thousands of small expenses that come with raising 2 kids. It can't replace stability. This wasn't the first time Jessica's family had been gutted by loss. Her mother, Jacqueline Williams, had already passed. So had her brother, Jacob. Jessica had become the anchor, the one everyone leaned on, the one who kept things together. Now that anchor was gone, her aunts, Tina Hupp and Ramon Rodriguez, stepped in. So did her uncle, Carl Foster Jr., and her special friend, Devontae Williams Sr. They took on the weight Jessica had carried alone for years, but they weren't prepared for this. Nobody was. The arrest came quickly. Meki Jerry Asandri was charged with 1 count of second-degree murder and 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder.
So, early in the morning, me and Kylie got our goddamn caramel, Vincent caramel macchiatos that taste like hot chocolate with foam. Maybe I don't flavor with no coffee taste. But it was free for my birthday.
Yes,
Thank you,
first
Starbucks,
birthday
for
gift.
sure.
No, don't put me on.
Dontrell Bradley faced charges of being a felon in possession of a firearm, along with outstanding probation warrants. Justice, they call it. But justice doesn't bring Jessica back. It doesn't tuck her kids in at night. It doesn't kiss their foreheads before school. It doesn't rebuild what was lost. Her children will grow up knowing their mother died because two strangers couldn't control their egos. That's not justice. That's just paperwork. This story isn't just about Jessica. It's about every single parent out there living on the edge of exhaustion, one bullet away from leaving their children alone. I promised you something at the beginning of this video. Advice that could save your life. Because while Jessica's death was random gun violence, the reality is that for too many people, the danger isn't on Bourbon Street. It's in their own home. If you're in a situation where gun violence feels close, where arguments in your household escalate, where someone you know has access to firearms and uses them to intimidate or threaten, listen carefully. First, remove yourself from that environment. Your life is worth more than any relationship, any lease, any fear of what happens next. If someone in your life has threatened you with a weapon, or if guns are used during fights to control or scare you, that is not normal. That is lethal. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They can help you create a safe exit plan. Tell someone you trust. Document every threat. And when you're ready to leave, don't announce it. Just go. Your children need you alive. Not brave. Alive. Second, learn the warning signs before it's too late. Controlling behavior, isolation from family and friends, explosive, unpredictable rage, access to weapons, threats that feel like jokes until they're not. These are not signs of passion. They are signs of danger. If someone tells you they'll hurt you, believe them. If they've put their hands on you once, they will do it again. If they own a gun and use it to make you afraid, you are in immediate danger. Start saving money in secret. Keep important documents hidden. Have a bag packed. And when the moment comes, leave without looking back. Jessica's story is a brutal reminder of how fragile everything we build really is. She worked every single day to create stability for her kids. Union benefits, side business, a future she was constructing one paycheck at a time, and in 2.2 seconds, two men who never knew her name took it all away. Every single thing. Her children will grow up with a GoFundMe page instead of a mother. They'll hear stories about her instead of hearing her voice. They'll see photos instead of her face across the breakfast table, because two strangers couldn't walk away from an argument. The myth of public safety died on Bourbon Street that night. Jessica did everything right. She worked hard. She took care of her family. She finally gave herself permission to rest. And it didn't matter. Random violence doesn't care about your sacrifices. It doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care that you have kids waiting at home. So we have to ask ourselves, how many more? How many more mothers? How many more families destroyed? How many more GoFundMe pages before we admit that this isn't normal? Jessica Williams deserved better. Her children deserve better. And so do you. If this story moved you, don't just watch and forget. Like this video. Share it. Comment below with Jessica's name so the algorithm knows her story matters. Subscribe to this channel so we can keep telling the stories that need to be heard. Jessica Williams worked every single day to build a life for her kids, and in 2.2 seconds, two men who never knew her name took it all away. Every single thing. Don't let her name be forgotten. Our hearts ache for Jessica's family. Words feel inadequate, but please know you are held in deepest sympathy and prayers. May you find strength and comfort in the memories of Jessica. Thank you for watching, for your attention, and for joining us on this journey of reflection. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and above all, stay safe. See you on our next video.